expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Relationship Monday, and our topic for today is Behaviors That Keep You Single, Part 2. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, I spoke with Tracy Kincaid, and we talked about never giving up on your dreams. Go over to YouTube, type in Intellectual Radio, stay connected for any episodes of Warriors Talk you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leap fences, penetrate walls to arrive at its destination full of hope." And that's by Dr. Maya Angelou. We are grateful for our sponsor on today. We have none other than Pastor Michael Richardson with the EmanuelC.O.G.I.C, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at EmanuelC.O.G.I.C at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at EmanuelC.O.G.I.C-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we're from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Here are your trending topics for today. Average daily COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are continuing to fall in the United States, an indicator that the Omicron variant hold is weakening across the country. Today's confirmed cases reported Saturday barely exceeded the 100,000, a sharp downturn from around 800,000, that is, 5 weeks ago on January the 16th, according to the Johns Hopkins University data. In New York, the number of cases went down by more than 50% over the last 2 weeks. I think what's influencing the decline, of course, is that the Omicron is starting to run out of people to infect, according to Dr. Thomas Russo, the professor of the infectious diseases chief at the University of Buffalo Jacobs School of Medicine. COVID-19 hospitalizations are down from the national 7-day average of 146,000 on January 20th to 80,000 this week ending February 13th, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Utah Governor Spence Cox said, "Now, let me be clear, this is not the end of COVID, but it is the end, or rather the beginning of treating COVID as we do other seasonal respiratory viruses." Those are your trending topics for today. If you are tuned in on any form of social media, please like the show, share the show, invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. Co-hosting with me today is none other than cancer activist, motivational speaker, and the founder of the Gal Foundation, Rizal Gilmore. Hello, Rizal.
Hello, Lady ReShell. How are you this evening?
I'm great. I'm so excited about the show today. You know, this is a part 2. And part 2s are always juicy as well as part 1. So I'm hoping that we can get through all of the behaviors on today.
Yes, me as well. You know, as you say, it's like the appetizers be the first, part 1, and then here we're picking and we're getting into the juice of things. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a part 3.
I'm hoping that it's not a part 2, 3, so we're going to make sure that we get through them today. Hey, Kenya, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you listening. All right, so I'm just going to go briefly over the ones that we did on part 1. Again, behaviors that keep you single. This is part 2, but part 1, we talked about the negative views on relationship or views on love. We talked about you must be confident or have confidence. We talked about unrealistic expectations, unresolved past traumas, and a fear of happiness. And then we tapped on low self-esteem. So that's 6 of them. So we got through those 6. And so here we are on part 2 of behaviors that keep you single. So I'm just going to dive right into number 7, which is you go overboard on your deal breakers.
Yes. Ooh, yes. And what's funny about that, because that's my number 6 for tonight, too many deal breakers. So it seemed like every little thing just pisses you off, or you're just complaining about this, complaining about that. Like everything's the deal breaker for you. Like, is it really that serious? This person, whoever he or she, could be doing one thing wrong on, that list that we go over so many times. And, you're just had it up to here with him or her because of that. All these deal breakers, a list of deal breakers. We should do a list of, did we do a show on a list of deal breakers?
We did. And I think we had a part 2 on that one as well.
Yeah.
We did. I think that you become short with people because of all of the things that you go through, and not that you should take it out on the next person, but I feel like as you continue to date, then you find out what you want and what you don't want. And I think where we make our mistake at is that we hang on in these situations where we know it's not what we want and we know it's not a good fit, but we're still there. And so when we get to the point to where we just start cutting people off because, nope, this is not working for me, I'm out of here, then people tend to look at you a certain way, because all of a sudden you at that breaking point to where you're not going to be taking, I don't want to say crap, you're not going to be taking crap. That's just
that is. No, I mean, I can agree with that. I'm quite sure by now comments are coming in because I know they be rolling real early, especially with Miss Kenya.
So you guys don't go overboard on your deal breakers. Like, narrow your deal breakers down to things that really are going to affect our relationship. If it's something that's not going to affect our relationship, then just, toss it. Oh my God, we have a celebrity in the house. We have
we got the mayor, the mayor of Chicago, deputy mayor of Chicago listening. Wait a minute, I got to wake up, step my game up now.
Get ready, come on, Rizal.
Huh?
All right, so that was number 7, right? Stop going overboard on these deal breakers.
Okay, that was number 7. Then
do you have a number 7? I'm sorry, you have one. Go ahead.
I have one. Getting in your own way.
Oh wow.
Yes. A lot of people do that. They get in their own way, sabotage the whole thing before it even gets started. So we got to stop getting in our own way. We got to stop having, certain thoughts. If you haven't healed from something and that's going to cause you the trauma or whatever down the line to keep, and it keeps a repeat, you keep getting in your own way. So you just need some time to just step back a moment, take a deep breath, reset, regroup, revive, whatever you need to re-up, whatever you need to do.
You need to heal. You need to take some time and heal from the situation that you just left. A lot of times we don't take the time to heal, and that's why we have issues moving forward.
I'm going to say they ain't taking time to heal. They ready to get back into the groove of things. They ready to get back to dating, going out, having the companionship, having the intimacy, having all of those things. So you're right. They don't take time to heal.
And I think it depends on how long you were in that relationship. Like if you're just dating, then yeah, of course you can move on quickly. But if you were in something for like 5 years, 10 years, no, you need to get rid of that residue that's on you before you move into another relationship. Hey, Lisa, thank you for tuning in. So I agree with that.
Okay. I mean, of course, things are not going to be the same. I mean, it's sad that you lost the relationship, but I think where people have to deal with is coping with the changes that they're about to endure, because, that person who's been in your life for 5, 10 years, things definitely is going to change. Then you meet somebody new and they're nothing like, the person that you've been used to. So you'll be kind of sabotage them because you may be thinking about them. Well, such and such used to do this, and you're not doing that. So it's the change.
No, some of us don't want them to be the same. I'm hoping that you're not the
I'm
same.
hoping.
If I move on, I'm hoping that you are not the same as the other person. That's what I'm hoping. All right. So number 8, you have trust issues. You do. You have trust issues. You
I
don't
think
trust yourself.
I think everybody has a little bit of trust issues. You always have that little voice in the back of your head, what if? What if this person is doing this? What if the person is doing that? You're thinking about this, and you putting all these different scenarios playing in your head of how this person could have, should have, how this person could have, did this, or he could be doing that, or whatever the case. Yeah. So I think everybody has a little bit of trust issues, especially in the beginning. If it, you got to scratch your head on something like, this don't sound right, it don't seem right, and I'm glad because this is the segue into my next one. But go ahead, trust issues.
I feel like people, because you have the unresolved issues with something that happens that caused you to have those trust issues and you didn't address it, so now you move on and you put that on to someone else instead of just taking time to resolve that issue.
All the time. I mean, there's so many, there's been so many, and I'm just going to speak for myself, so many women, my ex-boyfriend or my ex-husband, he, I never went through blah, blah, blah with him. And he used to do this, and do that. Okay. But that's when you was married. We're not married. We're getting to know each other. We're trying to build something new and fresh, but you're not trusting me because you didn't trust your husband with things what he used to do. And now it's causing conflict in our relationship.
Ooh, Lisa said she agreed with us on the trust issues.
Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to stay on trust issues a long time. So much can come out of just the trust issues. But I say you have to trust yourself first. And when you trust yourself, then you're going to trust your decision making, especially the person that you pick that you want to be in a relationship with. A lot of times we don't trust our own judgment because we always asking everybody what we should do if we should move forward about a person. Kenya said you can't look forward if you keep looking back. Oh my God, girl, yes, you just preached a sermon. That is so true. I totally agree. And if you miss that thing, then you need to go back to it. All right, Rizal.
Man, I always say, don't be running back to what you just ran from.
All right, behaviors that keep you single. What's your next one?
My next one, you don't believe him or her when they tell you the truth. The fights that come out of that. Look, I've always said, if I got to keep trying to prove to you that I'm telling the truth and you just don't believe me, I'm in the wrong relationship. I cannot do it anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I am drained. And we keep doing it over and over again. Eventually, if I am drained, I am going to be empty.
I think you have to get to a point with that person to where you have to build on that. Like, especially if y'all just getting together, then I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. So I'm really just taking you at your word until you prove otherwise. So,
well, your word is all that you have. My word is my bond. So if that's what you tell me, that's what I'm going to believe. But you take it upon yourself. You want to debate with me. You want to go back and forth with me that I'm not telling the truth. And here I'm telling the truth. And now we turning this into a whole shouting match. And now I'm starting to look at you in a whole nother light. And I'm starting to despise you a little bit. And nah, why do that? Why paint yourself a whole nother picture when, it could be something beautiful other than that?
Well, Kenya said because people have gotten immune to believing a lie. They believe the lie. So why, the truth, they don't know what the truth sounds like because they have been living a lie and believing a lie for a long time.
Well, we also been immune to believing about love. And that's why we're having this discussion today. Behaviors that keep you single.
Mm.
At
You know,
some point in time, you gotta trust somebody.
I agree.
Oh, sure.
Just be
She said,
selective.
I know
You just gotta
2022.
be
Me and
selective.
Lady Rochelle is agreeing.
Because trust is just not something you give somebody. Trust is really earned. So I'm not just gonna give you the trust just because we start talking. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna earn that trust, and over time, you keeping your word, you being consistent, and it builds from there. Now, you do something to screw that up, then we're gonna have to start all over rebuilding that trust, and that's what happens most of the time in a lot of relationships is because that trust is broken, and they keep having to revisit building that trust. So Lisa says
You
the picture are painted due to fear. I
know,
don't believe you.
now, I agree with you when the trust is broken that now you have to rebuild it. But at the same time, while you're rebuilding, what they keep revisiting is the incident that happened that occurred that caused the trust to be broken. Now you got daggers being thrown through the whole thing. When we trying to move forward, you still stuck in the same place on why whatever was done was did. So how are we supposed to move forward and rebuild trust if we can't move forward with you, for forgiving, letting go, and rebuilding, using what we now have to move forward with things?
Because the person who always doing the dirt, causing the trouble or the mistrust, always wants you to forgive and forget and move over it really quick. You can't determine how fast I get over it. Okay, so now you have broken trust. Now you need to help to rebuild this trust, and that's it's not an easy process. It's
Yeah.
just not.
But at the same time, I'm not going to let you, it doesn't give you a license to treat me like crap. Just because did something that was offensive
Sometimes it
doesn't give you
does.
the right to be offensive to me.
Sometimes it
We're
does.
just not going we just say, well,
Sometimes, depending on what it is that you've done,
some
sometimes I
people,
may treat you like crap.
Mhm.
Because you done crapped all over me and you expect me to eat it and keep moving forward and let's get on with the relationship. Sometimes that may happen. I'm not saying it's right.
well, we just get the garden hose out and clean up the spot, sweep
Um,
it to the street, and we just keep it moving. Okay.
Kenya said, I believe that women have reversed the roles, and that's a major part of why so many women are single.
Yeah, we discussed that before. That could be one of the issues. Stop trying to be the man in the relationship.
It's not
Stop
even
always
about
trying to
trying
wear
to
the pants all the
it's,
time.
it's not even about that. It's about I'm not about to take the crap that you issuing out, and I'm gonna cut you short and go my own way. And I would rather be by myself than take some crap. That's what it's about.
See,
Okay,
that's the crap.
that's the crap. That's the crap that's keeping us
Oh, wait a
single. What
minute,
I'm
look
talking
who
about right now.
Cadillac up popped in.
What's up,
Cadillac, it's been
Red?
like since last year.
What's up, Cadillac? Thank you for joining us. Now you have two men in the group. You have two. So let's see what
Look,
Cadillac has to say.
2022.
He said, I think it depends on if both people want it to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you want it to work, then
One of us can't just want it. We both got to want it. And I think if only of us want that, it's not going to work, because now you're there's insecurities, there's a lot of things now that sun came into play.
So
So it's going to
Walter
be
got it.
hard.
He says, Prophet Beyonce said, who run the world? Who run this world?
Well, don't you got a city to run?
Cadillac said, it's not time limit on fixing problems. Sometimes it may take months. Right. So don't rush the process. Now we know where we are, recognize where we are, and let's build from there. But don't rush the process. Don't rush it.
Okay.
All right, where you at?
I am on.
Sorry. What was that? That was number 8.
Mm-hmm. So I did believe him when he tells you to. So my next one is being a toxic person.
Ooh. That's a good one.
Being a toxic person, yes.
What does that look like?
True story. Went out on a date once, long time ago. We at the restaurant. We eating.
What's a long time ago? 2 weeks, Rizal?
No,
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
this was years ago.
I'm just kidding. Go
But
ahead.
we're at the restaurant, and the girl like, there they go right there. Who is that? Some girl. They wanted to jump me. They tried to jump me. Okay, we ain't taking that whole ghetto mentality thing or whatever. Like if that's the person that you are, that you think that just because a woman is looking at you a certain kind of way, or she's staring at you, you ready to go in her mouth, or you ready to handle that, or why she looking at me like that or whatever. And nah, ain't no dude going to stand up for, and the same thing with men. They get jealous too. Just because the other dude looking at your date, that's a compliment to me. But he's saying there, damn, what he looking at? All toxic, just toxic.
I think it's toxic too to be lying, deceiving, leading people on. And sometimes that type of behavior leads to somebody else being toxic.
That could be a gateway.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that down. We can add that in there.
Charlene says a toxic person to me is just being messy. You're full of drama.
Well, yeah, full of drama, but it's definitely always drama going on in your life. But it's a little bit more like Lady ReShell just said than just, being messy to it, Charlene.
Charlene also says she believes.
You gotta post it up. We need to see it. We can't.
Charlene, she's texting me.
Oh, she's texting me. Oh, y'all got a side conversation going on.
So if you guys want to call in, you can definitely call in. The number is 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. You can call in if you want to give a comment. Charlene also says that she'll believe you until you show her something different. Until you do something different, then I believe who you are just by your actions. Because your mouth could be saying one thing, but your actions are showing me something totally different. So I'm gonna go on your actions. So,
but now is Charlene the type of person like, okay, I'm gonna sit here believe you, but is she doing things to prove you that that your actions isn't matching up with what you say? Is she being a Magnum PI? Is she doing investigating and doing all this stuff? So that's the extra. That's toxicity.
Yeah, I think I can't speak for all women. I can't. I'm not even gonna try. So let me try to read Kimmy's paragraph that she wrote.
Oh, that's half a book right there.
She says, "How would you handle a relationship if you allowed yourself to trust after broken? You want it to work because there's a genuine, strong feeling there. So you give them a chance, but they aren't changing their actions that created the brokenness." Ooh. So you have to reevaluate that situation, really. I would say if you already addressed it with them about the situation that caused the brokenness in the beginning, then if some time has passed and now we're in this same situation, then I would say address it and just let them know that this type of behavior that you're displaying is showing me that you don't want this relationship. And if that's the case, we can go our own way, or we can address this brokenness so that we can move past it. Because otherwise it's gonna keep being a cycle. Something else is gonna happen and you're gonna feel that same way. You're gonna always feel that same way. So I would say communicate with that person, address it. Lisa said that was a great question. Come on, Rizal, I need you to address that.
Well, I need you to put it back up. I got to break down each sentence through there. Okay. How would you, if you allowed yourself to trust after broken? You want it to work because there's a genuine, strong feeling there. So you give them that chance, but they aren't changing their actions that created the brokenness. So,
go ahead, Rizal.
So my thing is, okay, well, the brokenness. Let's talk about that, because I think anything that's let me see how I can put this so I could be right, because then everybody will be coming at me for for the rest of the evening. There are some things that have been broken that can be fixed. There are some things that have been broken that are irreplaceable. So I think if there's a chance for, you have to pick and choose your battle on if this is that broken or is it irreplaceable. And they're not changing their actions, but what is it that you're looking for, like within them? What actions are you taking? Bringing it back up to them? Are you constantly bringing it up to them? Like, hey, you're not changing. You're not changing. We just said that changes don't happen within a couple days, couple weeks, or whatever we said. It may take a couple months.
Charlene said people change in their own time. They won't change until they're ready. So you keep bringing it up to them. And then I think it's also how you bring it up to them. Because, sometimes people get on the defense when you're telling them that they're not doing something right. So you have to make sure that you're approaching that person the right way and sit down and have an honest conversation with them, Kimmy, to let them know how this is affecting you and affecting the relationship, and how if we continue to move forward like this could be the result of the relationship. And if this is a core thing that you need to move forward, and I always talk about the core things, if it's a core thing that you need in order to move forward and have peace in a relationship, address it. And if it continues to not happen, I'm sorry, then for your peace of mind, then you need to move on. But I will say that a lot of times that people don't resolve things or can't resolve things is because our pride is in the way. There is some type of pride that's there that's not allowing you to say, I forgive this person. Yes, we can get past this, because you can get past pretty much anything. It's just that pride inside of us won't allow us to move forward and move past it.
Yeah, because I do believe that no matter what, that anything, no matter what, is fixable. If you, as we stated earlier, both parties have to be willing, though. One person just can't be in it to win it. Y'all both got to be willing to want to fix it and work it out, because anything's repairable. It can be repaired, but you got to be willing. But coming to the point where, you got to keep, like begging this person, like you said, could be the attitude, how you keep coming at them.
Don't be a fool.
You keep poking them or whatever, but hey, hope it works out for you.
Cadillac said, if the problem keeps happening, shaking my head, it might not be the problem, it might be them. And sometimes it is them. I mean, we all have been with mates to where we have told them over and over again that there's an issue, and they change for like a day or two, and then they on to the same thing. Brenda said, move on, deal breaker. You have to know and not be afraid to move on. If you married, then try to exhaust every measure with that person before you leave. Okay? Again, your peace is so much more. So much more.
That's right. Well, I say my mental state is more important than anything in this situation. So
also don't be quoting me. No. It's about you can get don't take that. Cadillac says, no, everything can be fixed. So everything probably can be fixed. You can forgive that person, but you don't have to stay in a situation. You can move on. That's just like when people murder somebody and that person, they murdered their loved ones, and that person forgive them. You could forgive them and still move on, but you know that ultimately their judgment is going to come. Whether it be in their mind, because if you ask God for forgiveness, he forgives us. So it may just be in their mind that they're going to go crazy in their mind thinking about what they did but you can still relieve yourself and forgive them and move on. You don't have to stay in that situation and be a fool.
Ooh, exhaust every measure.
Stop
Amen.
quoting me, Walter. Don't read that. What number are we on?
I don't know. We got to be in double digits by
Number
now.
9. Not yet. So number 9, you feel like you're going to lose your independence if you go into this relationship. You don't want to have to answer to anybody, be accountable to anybody. You want to be able to move and shake however you want to do it.
I think I got mixed feelings about this one. And why is that? Because, some people get into relationships so they don't move the same way like they used to move. They want that balance, that groundedness, that person to come in and, like, hey, let's work on, now we're working on, grounding and balancing each other. This is why I got into this. But then on the other hand, if you're still, think that your independence is going to be taken away, you can't do what do what you used to do. It really depends on the person and where you see yourself with that person. Is this person, that you see your life with, season, reason, lifetime? Or is this person just for the convenience of the moment?
So you have to learn, you can lose that independence, but you can learn how to work interdependent with that person. Like you can still have your own identity and still, be able to work as one with a person. And I think you would do it for the person that you want to be with, you'll do it. Now, if it's somebody you really don't want to be with, you're going to put up a fight. You're not going to want to make that change. You're going to feel like you're losing something versus gain. So
Unless you depleted.
Brenda's agreeing. She says, right. She says she's agreeing with you. She says, right. So, Cadillac says you can't be in a relationship and be single too. Hello. Come on, preach. Some people feel like they can. It depends. So it depends on what's your definition of single and in a relationship. So if you're in a relationship but you're not married, then you consider it single until you're married.
Right. So that means if you're not married, you are single until the paper, the ink is dry on the dotted line.
Yes.
Absolutely. And go to EmanuelC.O.G.I.C and see Pastor. He performs weddings, bar mitzvahs, funerals. No, stop.
Shame on you. Yeah. And I agree, if you're in a relationship and you're committed with that person, if y'all decided to be committed to each other, then you should be working on making that relationship that you in, with that they call it the person that you with, give it your all. If you're deciding to be with this person, why give them half? Why? Do your best.
Well, but that's how we should be in the beginning, but we do it half. I'm not sure.
Kenya says she don't agree. Which one, Kenya? You don't agree with being in a...
You can't do it.
I think she don't agree with being in a relationship and you still single as long as you're not married. That's what you're saying you don't agree with? She said, I'm sorry, I don't think she agreed with that. And it's okay. It's okay to agree to disagree. I think that's what she means, but clarify, Kenya, if that's what you mean. Clarify for me. So Cadillac said, wait, cheating then?
No, he says, what's cheating then?
She said correct. She said correct. So cheating is whatever you define in your relationship as cheating is, right? Whatever it is.
I think we need to break out the book clarification of what it is. Like, do we need Webster's dictionary? Because
no, I get what he's saying though. He's saying, I'm sorry to cut you off. He's saying that, okay, so if you're single and you're not married, he feels like, are you saying that you feel like because you're not married and you're with somebody else? Clarify it, because I can't. I clarify it. I don't feel like so Kenya said correct. She said that's correct. She don't agree with what we said about being in a relationship. You're still considered single until you're married.
No, well, that's a fact. That's how they put it on paper.
The state doesn't recognize you as a relationship. What is it? It's common law, after 7 years, but
only in certain states.
yeah.
Pennsylvania, Virginia I think Virginia being 2. It's not many.
And again, is what you and that person decide on what you want your relationship to be. Where the conflict come in is because we're looking at everybody else's relationships and we're putting those expectations on our relationship, and we're trying to compete, line up with them, instead of just saying, okay, this is what me and this person has decided.
Yeah, they want it to look a certain way. They want to see the flowers and the doggies running through the daisy field, and it's all peace and calmness. And mama's in the kitchen with her white dress, and she's cooking, and daddy's there with his pipe, and he's reading newspaper, and the kids are out there, or they're at the table doing their homework, or they're playing around chasing the dog.
All right. So before I get into Kenya's comment, because it is a good comment, Kenya. Before we get into that comment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a really quick break. And if you are just tuning in, don't go nowhere. If you're just tuning in to Warriors Talk, we are live on Intellectual Radio, and Rizal and I are talking about behaviors that keep you single, right? We all can identify with that. But I just want to highlight one of my sponsors, which is Allstate with Paula Kelly. And she is specializing in home, auto, and life insurance, and so much more. And she's located at 327 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois. And she can be reached at 708-758-3300. Call her for a free quote and let her know that Warriors Talk sent you. All right, so we're talking about behaviors that keep you single. And Kenya just put up a quote. So let's clarify. So Kenya said, so you are telling me if you're in a relationship with a person, that means that you are not exclusive or committed to that person just because you're not married. I'm confused. So Kenya, that's not what we said. What we said was single means not married, right? So if you're single, that means you're not married. And then we said, it's whatever you and that person decide your relationship is. So if y'all decide y'all exclusive, then that's what you be. You be exclusive. If y'all say we committed, we're not going to see anybody else, then that's what you do. But the definition of single means you're not married.
Correct.
You want to add to that, Rizal?
Correct. Look, perfect example. You and your spouse, your other half, your partner, they passed away. They're not going to recognize you as being, you could have been the girlfriend for 15 years, but if you weren't married, you ain't getting nothing. They're not giving you anything. You have to be married. That person was single. You are single. So now you're a single. I can't even say that you're with her because y'all weren't married. So now you're just a single girlfriend.
So if anything goes down and the parents are there, they could take over the funeral and be like, nope, she don't have no decisions. We got this.
Yeah.
No.
Or the kids or whoever, they have the power because they are next of kin.
Unless this person leaves a will and specify exactly what they want. So the definition of single says only one, not one of several, unmarried, or not involved in a stable sexual relationship. That's what it says. No problem. Kenya said, thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for that question, Kenya. That was a very good question. Hey, Angela, thank you for tuning in. Okay, she said in that aspect, we are correct. Thank you for that, Kenya. All right, that was a good one, Kenya. I had to go look up the definition, girl. I'm like, let me make sure I'm giving you the right information. So Cadillac says, why be with a person for 7 years and you're not married? Hello, Cadillac. Can you just put that question out there on Facebook? Because there are a lot of people doing it. There are a lot of people doing that. A lot of people are allowing their time to be wasted. Again, it depends on what you and that person has established. Y'all may say, we don't want to get married. This is how we want to live our relationship. And that's cool if that's the way you want to do it. Just worry about your relationship and what you got going in your relationship, because it may not fit for somebody else. And who knows why they may not want to get married again. Some people I'm traumatized you, and they haven't gotten past their traumas.
Because the toxic,
There you
toxic
go. Say it.
which we have discussed most of them because of the toxicness, holding on to someone who isn't available, deal breakers, listening to other people. Oh yeah, all kind of stuff. Yeah, nobody want to go through that again.
No. Angela says, "Thank you, Cadillac, for that question. It was a good question."
7 years. I answered this question a long time ago. I'm about to stir up the beehive. I'm about to stir up the beehive. The reason why
it's the warrior,
that man,
not the beehive.
Oh, the warriors talk about to stir up the warrior hive.
Yeah.
The reason that man hasn't asked you to marry him, and it's been 7 years, 10 years, because that man is still waiting for you to become the right woman for him.
Or he's waiting on the right woman to come along so that he can go over there. You just a placeholder. You said that yourself.
No,
right?
A
placeholder.
No.
Don't sugarcoat it for him, Rizal.
No,
Come on.
I ain't sugar. No. Look, we trying to be good.
Get it out.
No, I did, but don't go looking for something better. No, how do I say it? Don't go looking for don't go looking for something better and mess up the chances with something good. Something to that nature. I got it. My head be all over the place with stuff.
A lot of people do. Angela says, "Why buy the milk when the cow is free? I ain't gotta buy. I'm getting everything. You cooking for me, you cleaning for me, you doing my laundry, you doing everything. You paying bills. We paying bills together. You don't have my kid. Like, what's the part? What is that gonna prove? But I mean, we know.
But that's it.
Know,
but that's if she's doing all that, that's what she's trying to prove. She is trying to prove that she can do all these things and more.
Yes.
But if the man don't see it or recognize it, and it's all about what it is, what he's looking for. He may look for some men like drama. They like the drama. That's why you are what you attract. So if he's drama, if he like drama, you're not drama, y'all may not get along. Oh, now both of y'all drama. Y'all love it. Some people like that craziness. So you attract crazy. I attract crazy.
Oh Lord. And Kenya said, yeah, she agrees with you. Not on the crazy part. No, she had already typed. That might have been what she meant. Is that what you meant, Kenya? I'm just kidding. Angela says, thank you, bam, that right there. So they're agreeing. Let's see what Brenda said. Brenda said, if she's allowing no ring, then he's not giving her a ring. And that's true.
Well, not necessarily. If we're talking 7-10 years, yeah, you might as well forget it. But I say somewhere between, I'm not even going to say 1 year because y'all still kind of getting to know each other in 1 year. I say if we go past 3, because nowadays things is kind of hard with a relationship because y'all both working hard just to even keep your places or same place or whatever. Okay, so I say 3 years should be some type of consideration. Yeah, hey, let's do this.
What's the hard part about it? I want to clarify that.
Hard part?
Because to get married, all you have to do is just go down there. You can go to the Justice of the Peace and pay $20 or something like that and sign the paper. Bam.
Well, ReShell, everybody don't want that type of wedding.
I'm just saying.
Some people, they want the big extravagant wedding. They want rose petals. They want freaking Cupid out there playing the violin.
No,
they want all these.
You want the wedding for people. That's not for you.
Well, that's the wedding. Yeah, we all know. Some people think the wedding is more important than the marriage itself. So that's what we have to. That's what they need to clarify. But some people who've never been married before, they want all of those things. For a person who has been married before, they're like, okay, boom, I did it. I know what it's like. I felt it. I can go to the Justice of the Peace, pay $20 and be done. Other people want to kick out $16,000, $20,000 because they want all of that wedding day is very special to them.
Man, put that on a house. All right,
might have it. They might already have it on a house. You never know.
Let's invest in some property. Okay, number 10. You haven't learned from your past mistakes. You haven't. You still making these same mistakes in the current relationship.
Well,
Um,
they say that God's going to keep giving you the same thing over and over again until you get it. So if you're still making the same mistakes or picking the same thing, then obviously you got to do something different. Other than now you become what they say, idiot or idiotic. It becomes an idiot move. Yeah.
you might not even think that you're making mistakes. You may think this is the other person. A lot of times we want to think that, our stuff don't stink. We think and point the finger at other people.
That's because we keep trying to be our own psychologist, doctor, and everything else, taking self-advice. And sometimes the advice that you give yourself isn't the best advice.
All right. So Brenda says within 3 years, yes. And then Cadillac he said 3 years strong, yes. And then he said weddings are for women, and it's what she wants. It's what every woman wants.
Well, they want a wedding, big, small, however, they just want the wedding. They just want to get in front of somebody who can marry them, hitch them, and be out.
It could be something intimate. It's just showing me, it's just a commitment thing, like a declaration of, this is my woman. I want this woman, and I'm showing these people that I am going to marry her. Like, why not? If you want to spend the rest of your life with this person.
Well, after 10 years, shoot, you done spent a decade. You almost through all your life. So what? Why pay for the milk when you get the cow for free? We already spent 10, 20 years together. How many more we got to go?
Well, Angela says a grown man knows exactly between 6 months to a year.
No, that's most.
She says, I know what she meant. She said 6 months to a year.
Don't be speaking for Angela.
6 months to a year to know if you're the woman he wants to marry.
No.
Okay, we have some men on here. Is that true?
Men know within the first, at least by the third date,
that this is a potential person that I could marry.
And that's just that's just like coming attractions. We see it. We can see ourselves maybe possibly with them. Like even when I go on a date, like, why you keep looking at me? I said, well, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking into you because I need to see if I can see myself with you for the rest of my life.
Angela said that's exactly right. Cadillac says you have to change too. I think he was talking about what we said previous. Lisa said, some feel, why should they change if the other person is only complaining and not requiring you to change?
Well, I always say, if I have to change you, you're not the person for me. I need you to be who you are. Just be who you are. Don't try to be more than what you are or who you are. Just be who you are.
All right, let's move on. What was your next one, Rizal?
Taking bad advice from friends and family.
Okay.
That sister girl over there that's trying to help you, telling about, oh, you don't need him, you can do better and all this and that, but your heart is in a different space and place and she ain't never been in no relationship or married or anything. Y'all both gonna be out there drinking that yak, talking about men ain't blip, 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 beep. I gotta do my own.
Sometimes it don't be directed towards all men. It could be directed towards that one person. Like that person is not the person for you. And a lot of times, if you know me, and you've seen things, then a lot of times these people be right. I'm sorry, they just be right. But you're not gonna know it until the relationship is over.
Well, depending on who it is, your friends and your family supposed to know you best. But at the same time, we know how friends and family can be. Jealousy runs deep. So you really got to be cautious, with who you bring around your friends and family, because they may see how things are going, like, oh, I want the same thing, blah, 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 and just could ruin you and talk you right out of a relationship that could blossom, that could have blossomed and could have been more than you ever expected. You could have made it down that aisle finally. I'm reading what Cadillac's saying.
I gotta skip some comments and come down. I'm gonna come back to y'all comments. Brenda said everyone can see he's a dog if you're married or not. And sometimes it don't even have to be the women in your life. It could be men. It could be, I don't want to say male friends. It could be a brother. It could be a father. It could be an uncle. Sometimes they know because they have done the same thing. They have said the same thing, and they can tell you, no.
But do you take their opinion in consideration and still move forward? Because, like you said, I'm going to give you everything until you show me different. That's
it. I'm not about to ask everybody about you. I'm going to watch you and your actions, and I'm not watching you to say, oh, he's going to make a mistake. I'm just going to go along with the relationship. And when something happens, if it keeps happening consistently, I fall back. I fall all the way back.
But that's why people can't put their 100% in, because they're cautious, because they're waiting for that person to do something wrong and slip and mess up.
I said, I'm not waiting for you to make a mistake. I'm going along with the relationship. And if it happens to where you do something wrong, I'm going to address it. If you keep doing the same thing wrong over and over, I may address it a second time. Eventually, I'm going to fall back because I feel like you're not hearing me. You don't want to hear me. You don't care enough to make this change or address me to see why this change is necessary. Then I'm going to fall back and assume that this is not what you want. And if it's not what you want, then we can move on and be cordial and be friends and not waste time. People just waste so much time when most of the time we're not even a fit from the beginning. We with people that we're not even compatible with, all because we just want to be in a relationship because that's all we see around us. Take some time to be okay in your singleness, to find out who you are and what exactly you want. What is your purpose? Stop thinking that you have to always be with somebody. Love yourself.
Let me get my. You okay now? You invented. Do a woosah. Let me do my last one before you tell me it's time. So,
you already know.
Keep judging the person on their past.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. And you should take the past into consideration, depending on. If this was a person that was an abuser, if this was certain things, yeah, you think about that, you know.
Well,
but you're not going to, okay, so he did this with her or with this person. No, again, judge him on his actions with you, with how he's treating you. And then if this is our past and this is how you keep continuing, then it's an issue. It's a problem.
So let me ask you. Wait a minute. First, do you have any more? Because I know you're about to tell me any second now.
My number went up all the way up to 21, but we have a minute left.
So, do you need to know a person's past? Like, you weren't there, you weren't in it. Why do you need to know my past? I'm trying to make a future with you here in the present, and you want to know what happened back then with such and such. Is it a serious need for you to know a person's past? So now you can, your perception of me can be kind of tainted, kind of altered.
It depends, because sometimes we talk too much and we tell people too much. Those things should be let out over time. Not so when I meet you in the first week, I'm telling you everything. No, it should be let out over time. And eventually, things will come out. If you be quiet, women, the men will tell you everything that they want to know. You get to know his friends and watch how he treat people. Eventually that will come out.
Oh
that will come out. So
no!
I'm
You
not
got women these days. They want the whole kit and caboodle.
I'm
They
not
want to know
asking about
everything.
that.
Oh, you're not talking to me. Tell me about your child. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. Why is there such a dying need to know about?
It's important because if this is a person that I'm trying to get a relationship with, we need to establish if we're compatible. And if we're not communicating and talking to each other, and then we're not going to know if we're compatible or not. What is it that you have to hide? You don't have to get into detail like, okay, well, she did this in a relationship, then I did this. No, that's not really necessary because everybody's going to make it seem like it was the other person was crazy and it wasn't them anyway. And eventually just get to know that person, listen to them, it'll come out. And I am out of time, people. And I know that you're still commenting and I appreciate all the comment, but we're going to bring this to a close. Result, I need 30 seconds of words of wisdom.
Wholeness. Remember, codependency need each other, and you were broken, and so was she. And it feels like love, but when the two people become whole, the relationship become irrelevant. So you have to void. A soulmate is not going to fill a void. I can be filling you up because you're empty, then you're draining me. You will sabotage your relationship with your brokenness.
Love it. Awesome. Brenda, you get the last comment. She said, yes, tell me all. Don't waste my time. Tell me all. All right, you guys. So that was the last comment. So the show is also being sponsored by Gloria, Dotson with Mary Kay. She's catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. Join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. I will leave you with these words of wisdom. We waste time looking for the perfect lover instead of creating the perfect love. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell. Co-hosting with me is Rizal, aka The Biz. Warriors Talk is changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.